going on, guys? This is Dan here with the FNX Pod. I'm so excited to have our guest on today. Her name is Jessica Zachariah. Jessica is a school teacher. She is an elite ambassador with FNX, and she is a Rise 45 winner. Tune in here. You are going to love getting to chat with her. She's sunshine in a bottle, man. She's one of the coolest, easiest going type of people. She's got a great personality and really has some awesome insight, whether it is on childhood and development, whether it is on the future, or also she does a pretty good sales pitch to move to Florida. All of it is honestly just a great time, and just honestly, if you're looking for an easy day, she's definitely going to bring it. Before we get started, I did want to share just an opportunity for everybody, and that is that we are going to do for the first 100 rates and reviews, however you get your podcasts. First 100 rates and reviews, we're going to enter you all into a drawing to win $300 worth of FNX products or gear. So let's get to build your own bundle. We're not going to do the thing where, we're going to make you get X, Y, and Z products. You know what you like, you know what you want. All you got to do is just let me know when you win. So this is going to help us grow. We are obviously really excited about being able to do this. Right now, it all comes down to you, rating and reviewing. So if you want, dude, pause, go rate, go review, write something cool, write about how handsome I am, write about Chris, write about, how cool of a person Jess was or how great our guests are, write about the sound quality, which is just popping right now. But anything else, it's just, hey, listen, give us a rate and review, tell us the truth, tell us what you think. You get entered in for an opportunity for a $300 bundle of your choosing, and then come back, listen to the podcast, and brighten your day. Let's get started. All right. Podcast number 2.
Yeah.
Chris, are you excited?
I am. I've got a better microphone this time, so
Mike's a little better. We're learning things here together. This is a step-by-step process. It's a family affair.
Yeah.
Little by little, we're going to climb up that mountain, and we're going to be champions.
We're going to get there.
We're going to get there. Gosh darn it, we're going to get there. And today, helping us get there is going to be a very, very, very awesome human being. It is an elite ambassador. Her name is Jessica Zachariah. Jess is awesome. Hey, Jess. How's it going?
Hi. I'm good. How are you?
I'm so good. I'm genuinely pumped to get this party started. I've been looking forward to this conversation.
Me too.
So before we get started, I do want to kind of do a little, hey, just so you guys know, all you out in ambassador land, we do have our anniversary coming up this weekend. And if you're checking out the podcast after the fact, the first weekend of August, the opening few days is a really special. And you're going to be getting emails and you're going to be getting stuff. We love this. It is one of our favorite times. And if you're an elite, you get to know even sooner. Jess, do you know already as an elite ambassador?
I know already, and I'm super excited.
Good. Jess, we're gonna jump in now, just to the your you-ness. We're gonna talk about you. We're gonna talk about being an elite ambassador, but more about you. We're gonna talk about Rise 45 that you competed in and won.
Yes.
Nice.
So,
Love it.
first question that I always got to go with is, what do you do for a living and how long have you been doing it?
I am an elementary school teacher, and I'm going into my 7th year teaching down in Florida, which is super awesome. I taught 2nd grade for 3 years, and then I taught 1st grade for 2. And now I'm back in 2nd grade, which I'm super excited about. Started my teaching journey at Ohio State in Ohio, of course. Go Bucks. And then eventually moved down here a couple months after graduating and kind of put my feelers out in the St. Petersburg area, and then taught 3 years there. And then moved a little more down south toward a little south of Venice, just north of Fort Myers, a tiny town, Northport. Started teaching first grade there. And now I'm at a new school for me this year. Super excited to start second grade again. Ready to just get it going.
Oh yeah.
Oh
Okay.
yeah.
What? Okay. I don't have this question wrote down, but I just thought about it. What's the difference between teaching first grade and second grade? Like from a developmental standpoint, from a maturity standpoint, like I feel like that's a pretty big difference, or is it like
I feel like first and second are like the most like different,
mm,
because in kindergarten you're really learning like routines and how to get along with other people, and kind of just like the atmosphere of school. First grade is more like, okay, you have the routines, you know how to treat each other. Now you're really working on like actually reading words on a page.
mm,
And so like actually like learning like the academics is really big in first grade, and then I feel like in second grade, um, it's not just reading the words on the page, but more like comprehending what a story is about or what the directions are asking you to do, kind of thing. And in second grade I absolutely love it because you kind of as a teacher get to see them want to try things on their own instead of like asking you, saying, "Oh, Miss Zachariah, I need help with this, I need help with that." They're wanting to like actually do something and show you that they can do it, as opposed to like asking for help and like a lot of hand holding like first grade would be. Um, so it's just a lot more responsibility. Don't get me wrong, they're 7 and 8 years old, so they're not able to do things by themselves. And not that I don't enjoy being their teacher, teaching them anything, but they are more willing to try things by themselves, which is super cool. But they're like sponges. I love considering kids that age a sponge because they pick up on everything that you do. And like they'll even in like inside recess or something, they'll try to act like me. And it's so funny to hear them say things that I say. And I'm like, are you playing teacher?
oh, that's adorable. And so
It's so cool.
when did you decide you want, like, because you go to school in the Ohio State University,
Yes.
and you did elementary education? Is that what it is, right?
Early childhood education.
Early childhood education.
I have
So
my
you kind of set
certification.
out right away where it's like, I
Yeah.
am going to teach. Like, it's not something you can fall into, right?
Well, no, and I tried to fall out of it because, well, I don't know. I tried to follow in my mom's footsteps because she's the teacher. And then, you have that like little rebellious stage and you're like, I'm going to do something really different. I'm going to do something that nobody's heard of around here because I'm from a tiny town. Um, so initially I like would tour campuses thinking, oh, I want to do journalism. I want to be a news anchor. Like I want to like do something really cool that like no one around here does. And then, I did my first 2 years of like prereqs in college, and I'm like, is this really something I want to do? Like, could I really talk in front of like thousands of people? Probably not. And I just kind of had like this moment where I was like, it's in my blood. I'm a teacher. Like, my mom's a teacher. I love the way that she is. Like,
Mm.
that's me. It's just, it's who I am. So I was like, all right, I'm going to be a teacher. And from that point on, during student teaching or, doing anything within the schools, I would always just have teachers comment and say, like, it just comes natural to you. Like, you can tell how passionate you are. Like, you were born to be a teacher, basically. And so it was kind of reassuring. And it's like, okay, well, I guess I was.
Well, it's kind of written on you. Like
Yeah.
you are you're approachable. You are easy. You're an easygoing person, right? There's a presence
Hmm.
about you where it's like, yeah, she's just somebody who it's like, yeah, like if I need help reaching something, I'm probably gonna ask you to help me.
Yeah. And if I can't get it, we're going to figure it out, but
We're
it's
gonna
my
figure it
problem
out, darn it.
too.
Yeah, I love that. I love that.
Yeah. Yep.
Why Florida? Because so
Hmm.
small town in
I mean,
Ohio.
like super small.
Like how
Like,
small? Like how many
excuse
stoplights you
me,
got?
zero,
No.
none,
What?
no
Oh,
stoplights. We have
oh.
stop signs. Yeah. Like my graduating high school class was 49.
Were
like
you in the
small.
top 50? Were you top 50?
I hope so. No, I'm sure I was top 10 or somewhere around there. I don't know.
Brag about
But
it. It's fun.
yeah, it was super, super small. I grew up vacationing to Florida, anywhere from like St. Pete to Clearwater. We would go once in the summer, my family and I, and then once in like December, like Christmas time. And every single year we would go all out, make it a road trip. We wouldn't fly. It would be a family road trip in the car,
Oh
14
yeah.
hours, driving
Ooh.
straight through. Like, let's do it. We'd take turns, take naps, play games, whatever, sing songs, like have so much fun. But every single year it was inevitable. My parents are like, we're going to sell our house and move. We're going to sell our house and move. And that's what I heard all through high school.
Yep.
And I'm like, if you guys aren't going to do it, I'm going to. So they didn't want to leave me while I was in college. So they're like, what if you need something? And I'm like, I'll be fine, but whatever. It's nice to have you here. And then I graduated college and I was like, I am saving up for about 3 months and I'm moving. I'm moving. And my parents were like, no, you're not. Okay, well, I moved and they helped me move in for like 2 weeks. And my mom kind of looked at me at the last day when they were getting ready to leave and she's like, I think we're going to go sell our house. We're moving. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll believe it when I see it. And then less than a year later, they moved. So
Oh, that's so funny.
it was just
So
me that I guess like
you're a Florida evangelist.
took it. Yeah.
Just making converts.
So I made them move. And then of course my brother, well, I didn't make them move. They were willing, of course. And then my brother and sister-in-law and their 2 boys moved maybe a year after my parents did. So now I have basically what's left of my family here. I have an aunt and uncle down in Bonita Springs, just a little more south of me, but my whole family is in Florida now. So super great.
You have a very unique perspective because you are our inaugural Rise 45 winner.
Yes.
You're also somebody who I think still works out 7 days a week. Like you've pretty much continued that, right?
There are some non-negotiables in my life since the Rise 45, and rightfully so. Like it was kind of designed to be a program that like it's like a lifestyle more so than it is like just a challenge. So I mean, anybody around me will tell you like sleep is a non-negotiable for me. When it's school and I'm getting up at 4:20 in the morning, I am in bed by 8 and don't even think about trying to get a hold of me because I'm not answering.
Oh my.
Yeah, but the routine, it's so good. I love it.
Well, and I think that's something we're gonna spend a good bit of time on, that I really want to be able to look through, draw out. So start. You became an elite ambassador last September.
Yeah.
Maybe October. And then we launch
September 16th, I think.
Oh, look at you. It's just got a birthday.
If I remember.
Wow. All right.
That's how you know that it was special.
It's exciting. Yeah.
Right?
It was very exciting. I remember that call and like pacing around and like getting so excited and like wondering all these things and then just like everything falling into place and like knowing like this is where I'm supposed to be. This is a part of a company that I want to be a part of,
Amen to that.
So it was so good. Like it was just exciting and didn't really know what I was getting into and I had questions and ideas and still do. So
we talk about those too. So
Yeah.
shortly thereafter, just a few months, and I even think like early on, you and I had kind of like I had teased out like Rise 45 and talked about like, hey, we got this program, like I really believe in it. Like I think we're gonna change like people's lives. And then we launch it in January.
Yeah.
You join. Will you, just for those who don't know, because obviously it's my baby, so I don't want to get too preachy on it and stand too much on a soapbox, at least not this early in the podcast. Will you tell everybody what Rise 45 is from your purview?
Yeah, absolutely. So Rise 45 was kind of this challenge that I didn't really realize that I needed at the time, but like totally excited me and got me off and running to, the goals and aspirations that I had for myself. But Rise 45 was basically, it encompassed like mindfulness, nutrition, supplementation, sleep, and I'm missing two. How am I missing two? Obviously, exercise. There's one more. I think hydration maybe is what I'm missing. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, so it was something that kind of got me on the ball to like, I knew my diet wasn't like perfect, and I could have definitely tracked more of what I was putting into my body to, in order to get the results. Hydration was something that I struggled with at the beginning quite a bit, because as you know, being a teacher, you can't just like use the restroom whenever you want. So drinking, I made my goal as like a gallon a day. And drinking that much, like I kind of had to space out the time where like, I can chug it with my supplements in the morning when, right before I work out. And then I kind of have to pace it throughout the day so that I can get my water intake in. One of the most special pieces of Rise 45 was the mindfulness for me, because I actually did my mindfulness with my kids every day, and I don't even know why I'm like getting emotional right now, but it changed their life. Let me just take a drink and gather myself.
Well, and while you're taking a break,
Yeah.
I want to just briefly just say that so one of our visions for Rise 45 at the onset was we wanted to create a program that wasn't something that was a turn and burn, right? Where it's like, hey, we're going to bring you in a door, you're going to buy some products, and we're never going to talk to you again. And,
Right.
Hey, maybe lose a bunch of weight really fast. And then all of a sudden, let's just keep going. And let's, you know what I mean? Like we wanted to build a lifetime for people. We wanted to establish a real habit. We wanted to establish strength and confidence, because a lot of times what happens is people are like, man, I'll suffer for 30 days.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm just going to go back to my habits.
Mm-hmm.
And
I
so
mean,
for
don't get
us,
me wrong. I totally looked forward to like the pizza at like day 46.
What?
I know, right?
Yeah.
But
Well, and
it
that's
wasn't,
not,
it
but
wasn't
that's
like
different.
a,
Yeah.
yeah. But the mindfulness was like the most beneficial part for me and my kids, my students. Having like a room full of 18 kids, I would just completely shut the lights out. We had a program that we used through like our district, called Inner Explore, and it was just this like 10 to 12 minute, like I want to say like meditation, but that's not what they called it, specifically. But it was almost where like you just like sat there and reflected on like your emotions, or like it would kind of talk you through like taking you to a place or experiencing an emotion, or like how it felt within your body. And then it gave all of us like a chance to like talk about it. And
Mm.
even after those like 10 to 12 minutes, like I would carry on with it and like ask the kids, like these, at the time I was teaching first grade, these 5, 6, 7 year olds are able to like identify their emotions and their feelings and like talk about them. And like, if it was a negative emotion, they come up with like strategies of like how to fix those emotions. And it was like literally life changing. And it, I mean, like I get chills when I talk about it, because before I did this with them, like not that it was like a free for all in my classroom by any means, but like they needed me to solve a lot of their problems. Whether it was not sharing or whatever it may be, or not knowing how to like cope with being sad or frustrated about something. They like, you could visibly see them like working through their problems or working through their stresses, at the young age of 6 or 7, and like figuring things out and like identifying their feelings, which you're not born with that capability of like identifying how you feel and in being able to fix it. So that was like the most rewarding, I would say. And like even teachers, in the building would tell me, like when they went to specials, like my art teacher would always say, I don't know what you have done with these kids, but they feel more like centered, and they're so like independent with their feelings. And it's like, my job's done. And not only did I was helping myself because I was purposefully taking that time, but not like I wasn't doing anything extra, because I was going to be doing that for myself to begin with. So doing it with 18 kids and then them being able to like take it to their friends or take it to their family, at home, and dealing with problems or situations or like, exciting things that happen and how to like celebrate it. It just like, it meant so much to me.
I mean, it just goes back to being adaptable, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So not only is your life as an example uh, for these kids, what you did is you kind of got a little involved, and not just a nice lady up in front of a class,
Mhm.
but you did practical things to help
Mhm.
them. Like, the other day, I have a 16-year-old son. His name is AJ. He's the man. He's a really cool guy, and we were talking about he's going into his junior year of high school, and AJ's like, I got to tell you, everything that I learned last year, I don't remember any of it. Like, he's just like, I did, and this is the best school year he's ever had. This is the best he's ever done in school.
Aw. Mhm.
And I mean, behavior, like, he struggled with behavior, for his whole life. But he's growing. Puberty was very good for him. But he was like, he said to me, we're in the car, and he's like, I don't remember anything I learned in school year. He's like, actually, I was thinking about it. I don't even know how to write in cursive. And he looks at me and he's like,
Yeah.
do you know how to write in cursive? I'm like, no.
I know that Z's and K's look really funny.
Right. And I'm like, I don't. And now I'm like, oh dear. Like, now I gotta like, I'm like thinking like he's gonna tell me like I don't like care. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we've had historically, I've really tried to plant seeds of legacy and integrity and value for him. And so I'm like, oh crap. Now he's gonna be like, so why am I even going? Like, I'm not even gonna try. And then he
Right.
goes, and then he said, but one thing I learned last year is I learned how to learn.
Okay.
Dude, now he's 16. He was 15 last
Yeah.
school year. I'm a little frustrated that he's learning how to learn at 15. But also,
Hey.
I encounter a lot of adults who don't know how to learn
That.
still. Also,
Yeah. Oh
also, I
yeah.
may have been an adult who didn't learn how to learn until. So
Oh
it's
man.
awesome because I think what you've kind of you've circled on here for with your kids is you've taught them how to process, or at least
Mhm.
planted a seed in how to process.
Mhm. Mhm. Absolutely.
Any particular examples that you could share? Anything that you dealt with? When it's like where I want to say that for you personally in the classroom where you saw maybe either, oh, this was a normal behavior, and then by the end of it, this was not a normal behavior. Like the child had learned how to better process, had learned how to clear their eyes. Anything that jumps out?
Um, I mean, I know there was one student that really struggled, and he was just pretty academically low. So when new content would be taught to him, new standards, and I would introduce something and kind of probe and see like what the kids already know, so that I'm kind of touching on their schema and scaffolding, so that I can figure out, where to take it. Every time I would introduce something new, he would always have to use the restroom. He would always be, playing with something on the carpet, or, when they were at their seats, he would be like just like scribbling back and forth on his paper and just like frustrated, but not being able to like understand or know how to ask for help. And so, he would have those kind of defiant behaviors and kind of act out or, distract people around him. And, it wasn't like a flip of a switch by any means for him, but toward the end of the year, you could actually see him like, I moved him closer to me so that he was, very like physically close to me, and I would be able to like check in with him periodically. But he was able to, when it was independent work, he was able to raise his hand or ask me a question and, be able to voice his feelings of being frustrated or not understanding something. And, it was like magical when he was able to point it out, like at the end of the year. He would say, like, remember when I used to get really mad and I used to scribble all over my paper? I don't do that anymore. And it's like, yeah, you don't, and then like being able to use that as like a teachable moment and say, like, why do you think, you're able to ask for help now? He's like, well, just because I understand that, sitting here scribbling on my paper isn't getting me anywhere, in 7-year-old terms, of course, but
Of course.
he he was able to kind of identify and like realize that he was in control of his emotions, and instead of getting frustrated and defeated, he like had the willingness to want to learn. And it was just it and I know like it had everything to do with like the mindfulness and the meditation that we would do, and like identifying things so that he was able to, make that turn and ask for help.
So I have a question for you, um, because I mean, like mindfulness and things like that. I mean, that's something that I'm still working on. I'm 37 years old, um,
Yeah.
and something that I've recently even started working on. Um, and I feel like that's the same not only with the kids that you're working with mindfulness, but I mean, did you bring anything else into the classroom? Did you bring in like your fitness or anything like that? Because I know that's something as well that a lot of little kids struggle with.
Yeah. So they thought that I was like the coolest teacher this year because I would do like field day with them, or I would go out like if I didn't have a whole lot going on for like their PE, their physical education specials when they were out there, like I would go out there and just do it with them. And they're like, "You can do this?" Like they were so excited about it. I know, right? And I'm like, I am that cool teacher that I always want to be, that's like still doing stuff with their kids, and like them just being so like baffled, like you can run, like you can like jog, you can jump over this stuff, like what? Which is super cool. But it's so funny because like I kind of try and relate math to physical fitness as much as I can, whether it's like counting or, like because it makes sense, like you're adding, 45 plus 45 and, all that stuff in the gym. But with first graders, I would always do like centers or rotations because they need that movement. And so like I would set up like cards, and I did this so much because they loved it, and I loved it, and I loved watching it. I would participate with them. We would do dance breaks all the time, which was like super important. We would
Yes.
do like
Oh,
breathing
that's great.
techniques. We would do, yeah, like there's a program that we used called Go Noodle, and there was like guided dancing and stuff. So we would always do that if we had like a free like couple minutes. But back to like the math centers, I would set up, I call it Scoot. And so like they're just these like little cards, and they had this like board that they would fill out. And I want to say there's maybe like 20, 25 or 30 boxes. So they would like turn over the card, read it, and have to either solve a math problem, tell me how many sides are on the triangle that's on there, or they'd have to do jumping jacks, or they would have to do sit-ups. Like they would never know what they were getting until they got there. And so like it was like kind of a game to them, but not only were they learning, but they were also like exercising, and they thought it was like the coolest thing in the world.
Heck yeah.
That's great. I love it.
So
Yeah.
good. Sorry, this is a little random,
Yeah.
but there's a point.
Okay.
I feel like this is gonna take a minute. All right, here we go.
It's gonna take a minute. I got something to say.
Okay. Say
My
it.
art teacher in elementary school. So I also come from a very, very small town. We had one stoplight. So
Oh, you beat me.
you know, fancy over here. Um,
Whoa.
Pretty much everybody lived on one street, and then everybody else was in the boonies. But
Mm-hmm.
we had our art teacher was named Mr. Bailey. Rafe Bailey was his name. Love this dude. He was such a cool teacher, but when he would, and he bounced around to some other local schools because he wasn't always at our school, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Mr. Bailey, would come out and play recess on the days he was with us. And he would destroy everyone in kickball. And I remember, though, being like, Mr. Bailey is the epitome of what an athlete is supposed to be. Like, and this is not, this is just an average, like, 40-something dude who's just hucking balls at kids and, like, rolling, you know, when they're, like, in kickball, they're rolling it and it has, like, the spinner. And, I mean, he was just dominant. But I remember Mr. Bailey.
Yeah.
You planted some seeds where these kids are going to remember you, and they're going to remember you very fondly. They're going to remember you because because sometimes what happens is people find, like, they look at fitness and physical movement as a chore. And they look at it as like, oh my gosh, and I have to lose weight, and I have to be fit because otherwise, and and then you have somebody who, like Miss Zachariah, who's like, no, we're gonna have fun of this.
Yeah, and like so many other things, you don't make it like you said, it's not a chore and it's not a punishment. Because you get that a lot too, right? The whole, drop and give me 50 or whatever. And then people learn to hate those things after a while. It's the same thing with, and I'm sure you've ran into this with like as a punishment, making kids read. And then people start to hate reading. So I think that's awesome that you get to be that person that they get to look at.
Yeah.
Tell you what, as a parent,
That's
I'm not above punishing my kids with burpees.
I cannot do that at school. Nor do I think I would.
You might as well, if you're going to do that, you might as well just give you like a paddle. And just like go ahead and start beating these kids.
It's the same.
It's like either beating them physically or beating their emotions, like what burpees do. Because burpees both beat you emotionally and physically. That's so good.
Yes,
so good.
They do.
Well, okay, what's your athletic background? What did you play sports in high school?
I did. I was just a super athletic person my whole life. I mean, I grew up in gymnastics, rhythmic gymnastics. I remember taking my parents, to Ohio, Pennsylvania, just random places, all over the place, just loving gymnastics. Kind of got out of that, played volleyball all through high school, ran track. And then I actually received a scholarship to play for the branch of Ohio State in Marion. So I played for 4 years volleyball there. And I feel like I've been an athlete my whole life. I grew up, like, I remember being like at our local YMCA while my dad and brother would be lifting. My mom would be, doing some cardio of some sort. I would just be running around, on the basketball court, or, my dad would be, hitting volleyballs at me to help me practice. So being, an athlete has been part of my life. I've grown up around gyms and, sports and all that stuff, watching it on TV with my dad as well. But I kind of, I don't know, I don't want to say I hit a wall, but like after college, I was like, nobody's forcing me to do 2-a-days. Like nobody's forcing me to get up at 7 o'clock and work my butt off and then take a couple hour break and then go back and work out. Like I need to figure something out because I didn't want to lose the momentum that I had built my whole life. So that's kind of where, I knew what to do and how to do things in the gym as far as like lifting goes. And that's kind of what my life has been since college is lifting and, of course, cardio. But I've thought about, like dipping into like CrossFit or maybe even like competing, doing like a bodybuilding show at some point in my life. I would never say never for anything. I'm still young enough to do whatever I want to do. I still have, goals and ambitions. And if I set my sights on something, like I'm going to do it, like the Rise 45 challenge, I was like, I'm going to win this thing. And here we are. But, especially with these CrossFit games going on and, like you get lost in social media sometimes. And then I was like clicking on all these, I noticed like I was like 5 or 6 girls deep into these, like, and everybody's like CrossFit. And I'm like, is this something like I want to kind of like think about? I don't know. But I've noticed in my adult life that I don't want like a trainer. I don't want somebody telling me what to do because I don't think that I would do it very well. But I also think that I have enough knowledge to, kind of be on my own and do the workouts that I know already. Like I have my 7 days of, what I normally do, the body parts that I focus on daily. Um, but I'm kind of getting to a point where I feel like I need to switch it up a little bit. I just don't know what yet.
So we have a question, and you hit on it a little bit, uh,
Yeah,
but you've said twice now that you're working out 7 days a week. Somebody
yeah.
asked, how do you do your 7 day split?
So Mondays I usually do legs. Tuesdays are shoulders. Wednesdays are back. I do Thursdays chest. Friday is arms, bis and tris. Saturdays usually booty gains of some sort.
Nice, nice.
um, and then Sunday, I just kind of leave it up to what I'm feeling. Sometimes I'll do chest or back because that's kind of midweek and I haven't hit on it in a couple days. If I go really hard one day and I'm feeling extra sore or something, then I'll use it as more of like an active recovery day. Depending on how late I'm running or how early I get to the gym. The gym opens at 5, so I can be there at 5 a.m. But in order to get to school, like I have to leave by like 6:15, 6:20 at the latest. So, it's kind of like a time crunch in the mornings, but it also kind of gets my day going. So it really just depends. And then of course, Saturdays and Sundays are kind of free and I can spend however much time I want, which is really great. And, also touching on that with the summer, I've been able to sleep in as late as I want, which is usually like 8:30, 9 o'clock. And I have found myself staying there for 2.5, maybe even 3 hours at a time because I found the gym with this like cardio cinema. And you can like, believe it or not, you can actually get lost in a movie while you're running. Like, I didn't think that was possible. I'm like, no, you're running, you get tired. Like, you can't just like forget you're running. But I'm like, oh, dang, I was watching The Proposal the other day. And it was like, I was just loving it, laughing my butt off at Betty White. Hilarious. And then the movie's over, and I'm like, dang, okay, I could do this.
Is that the Sandra Bullock Ryan Reynolds movie?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Where they're like dancing in the woods. Oh,
Yep.
man, I love it.
Sandra Bullock.
Yeah. So funny. But yeah, of course, I throw like cardio in there when I can. My favorite cardio is the stair climber, honestly. Like, I just love to hate it and I hate to love it. Um, if I could do anything but run, I'll do it. But I just know like I'll do sprints and stuff just because I know it's like the best for me. Um, and I want to say it's where I see like the quickest results. Obviously, it's not like in a day's time, but if I'm working on my legs a little extra, or like wanting to lose a couple extra pounds, like I just have to do sprints. Like I just know that that works for my body. Um, but I'll throw in like the elliptical every now and then. But I try and switch it up as much as I can as far as like cardio goes, so I don't get bored or I don't feel like it's a chore and make myself like dread doing it. Like I try to keep it exciting enough to where I like, hey, I'm gonna do this today. So I'm like looking forward to it still. Because, after a while, like every single day of the week, it's like, okay, I need a break. And I do listen to my body for the most part. I mean, my close friends will say like, you should probably do an active rest day a couple more days than you actually do, but it is what it is. And there are days where I don't push myself nearly as hard as I do on other days. But it's all about, like kind of listening to your body. So
I mean, I don't know. So at one point during the Rise 45, kind of the initial Rise 45, which I did the test prior,
yeah.
and then I did Rise 45, and then I did the test for Rise 45 Summer Shred, and then I did Rise 45 Summer Shred. And
Yeah.
so we're looking at, that was 180 days.
Yeah.
And I'd worked out 196 out of 200 days.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. But
yeah.
And it was like the days I didn't work out were literally because it was like, oh, I was supposed to be home at 6 and I was home until 10:30.
Yeah.
Where it was like, oh, I just, okay, move on. But
Hmm.
like, not all fitness days are the same.
No.
And I think sometimes people are like, well, if I'm going to go in, I got to go in and go in.
Right.
And even what you're saying about listening to your body, it's like, no, I listen to my body. My body does crave movement.
Yes. Yes.
Your body
Yes.
does
Absolutely.
crave activity. It craves strain.
Hmm.
Now it also craves recovery.
Yeah. Absolutely.
When is the last time you took a rest day?
I honestly don't remember.
Yeah.
I do not remember.
When's the last time that you needed a rest day?
Like yesterday.
You're supposed to say you don't. That's what I was looking for. You're supposed to like, I don't know. Probably the last time I took one. Like, not like, no, I really need one.
No, I can tell that I am needing a rest day soon. Especially because school is starting. Teachers go back this coming Tuesday, and just like being in my classroom every day, setting it up, like there's a lot on my mind, and there are times where I use the gym to as like a stress reliever. Not that I'm like a super stressed out person by any means, but that's kind of like my me time and like time where I'm able to like just block everything else out, take a break from, the beginning of school year stuff or, whatever it may be happening outside of the gym. I'm able to just like, close the door and be like, all right, give me an hour and a half and then I'll be ready to get back into what I'm getting into. So, but yeah, I'll probably take, I don't know. I say I'll take a rest day soon, but I don't know. Cause I crave routine too. Cause I'm like super pumped about getting back to school and like getting up at 4:20 and like having that whole routine to take me through the day and like meal prepping and like not having a question of like what am I going to do for dinner or what's for lunch. Well, what's for lunch is what's in the fridge at school because you can't leave. So
Hey guys, just wanted to take a quick break and let you know that we are offering a special for all of our podcast listeners at the fnxfit.com store. So site-wide, you can order any product and use FNX Pod at checkout to get 30% off your next order. That is FNX Pod at checkout to get 30% off your next order. And when you do it, hit me up on IG and let me know. So I'll maybe try to throw in something extra special for you. Because you tracked your macros during Rise 45, right?
I did. I've not done it consistently since, just because it's not like that aspect of it. Like it totally made me more aware of what I was putting into my body, kind of thing. I mean, I kind of have like the basis of like what I like to eat, what's good for me to eat, what I can fuel, very well with. But I don't, and again, that's something that's going to start with school again, just because it's very routine for me. But I would meal prep for the week for lunches and kind of like plan out what my dinners would be. So there's like no guessing really. Because I mean, let's face it, there are some days where I just don't feel like cooking and, being at home by myself, no one's going to do it for me. So, when, if I buy it and I have it and it's ready, I'm much more
Of course.
willing
Inclined.
to eat it, I
Yeah.
guess.
Or
Yeah,
much
for
more
sure.
like obligated.
Yeah. Yeah. And especially like if I'm buying like grass-fed beef or something, I'm not letting that $10 thing go to waste.
I understand wholeheartedly.
So yeah. And I mean, not that I was like an avid fast food person by any means, but like I would say, I would tell myself like, oh, I'll just stop and get Chipotle. It's healthy. There's rice and chicken and veggies, but then, sour cream and then, extra cheese. And it's just a lot easier to know what you're putting into your body and like realize why you're getting the results you are because of, what you are making, not like the seasonings that other people are using and stuff. Like you're just more conscious of it and it's super important.
You're more conscious, you're more aware,
Yeah,
and also you don't have as many excuses. Sour cream is awesome.
for sure.
Sour cream is
Oh,
awesome. Cheese?
so have you ever used Greek yogurt as
Yes.
sour cream? Plain Greek yogurt. That's
That
my
has become
jam,
a
man. People
staple in
are
our
like,
house.
ew, gross.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, just try it, just try it.
They have the was it the Fage? Is that how you say it? Phage?
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 Yeah, I think so.
It's like the no fat yogurt. When we did
all
macros,
right.
we did macros during Rise 45, the second iteration. The first time when I did the test, I just did. All I did was no alcohol. That was my like diet. Was just like, hey, you know what? I'm kicking booze for 45 days. It was the worst 45 days of my life.
It made it more, huh?
I hate Rise 45 in that time. No, it was actually really necessary because I got to realize, like, even for me, it's like, like I say, I have a power belly, and when I drink beer, that power belly is powerful. It is a very, like, my belly got huge off of beer. So I like, and then, you know, when I come back to alcohol after the 45, I kind of reincorporate little by little, and I realize, like, man, beer messes me up. So while I love beer, I don't drink it unless it's like, okay, we're not going to be around anybody because started looking like Santa Claus.
Listen, it's freaking bikini season year round here, and since like I cut out alcohol for my Rise 45 challenge as well. But like, man, I love me a mean margarita. But I'm telling you what, the sugar in the margarita mix is like ridiculous. So like now I've kind of found myself like, I wouldn't call it like an alcoholic or anything, but like I'll just do like tequila with some lime. Like,
get it?
Who needs the freaking mix anyway?
Tequila and lemon lime reburst. That's
oh shoot.
Yeah. A little extra.
You might be onto something.
Little extra lime.
Yeah.
A little extra lime. Hold on.
Oh man.
I'm not gonna say I've done this.
Yes, you have.
Well, so we used to have a product that was like a hydration product. It was called, I think it was Refresh. Truth be told, I didn't like the flavor. It worked. Like, it was a good hydration product, but the flavor was just, it was a coconut lime. And we discontinued it like after the first batch. We were like, no, it doesn't hold up to our standard. And I went to a competition. This is even before I worked for FNX. I went to a competition, and there was a guy there who took a bunch of the samples and then poured them into his giant bottle of tequila.
Just straight into the
Tequila and Refresh, and mixed it around. And we're at this CrossFit competition, and he keeps coming over to the FNX booth because I'm over there hanging out with Adrian. And he keeps coming over, and he keeps handing me the bottle. Now, here's one thing that needs to be said. It is like 148 degrees.
Yeah.
And the bottle is not iced. So I'm drinking warm flavored tequila. Absolutely delicious.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I'm not even joking. It was a little warm.
That's hilarious.
A little warm for my warm for my taste. I loved it.
But you loved
I have
it.
a few extra of the packs because we found some around here, and I was like, cool, taking these home. Hey, Joan, guess what, darling?
Oh my gosh.
We're getting a little spicy tonight. Hydrated and having tequila.
Yes, you're like, they cancel each other out basically.
It's honestly, it's science.
Yeah, that's what science says.
That's what science says.
Yeah.
Oh dang.
It pays to work for a supplement company. But now it's the Reburst. Reburst is like the go-to of all go-tos in my house from anywhere outside of the baby. But lemon lime Reburst, little water, little ice.
I don't want it to ruin me though. Like I don't want to like drink it like during or after workout and be like, tequila.
Don't drink that much. Jeez, girl. We're not back in college. I don't know what you did back at Ohio State, but here we graduate from those choices.
Oh, okay. Yeah, just joking.
Miss Zachariah kicking back a margarita in third period. Like, no. She's really happy in the afternoon.
I wonder why. It's reversed.
She really pays a lot of attention to her mindfulness, but she snores during our mindfulness.
Oh my gosh, that's too funny.
Chris, do we have other questions from the crew?
No other questions. People just saying hi, and they're enjoying it right now. They're loving the conversation.
Well, Well, thank God Jess is pulling her weight here. She's carrying us. It's a huge help.
I don't know about that.
At least now we've shared with people alcoholism.
Uh-huh.
Oh, the point I was actually making, which I never even made. It's my bad. The point I was making was macros.
Yeah.
During Rise 45, the first iteration, my wife and I both did macros. We used the RP diet. Did you use MyFitnessPal?
Mm-hmm.
So we used RP, and your carb count, right? Carbs. So for us, we had a harder time with carbs than we did fat, and so and I don't always like it, but like we were picking non-fat things. So like something like this non-fat Fage Greek yogurt, and that's what we were putting like on our tacos.
Yeah.
What I would do is I would mix tahini, because it has no nutritional value like at all. I'd mix tahini in with the Fage, and then we'd do like fish tacos or chicken tacos. Could do beef tacos because too much fat. But tahini mixed with Fage, change your whole life.
What's tahini? Is it like a
You don't know what tahini
hot
is?
sauce or something?
It's like a bath salt. We do that in Florida, right? No, tahini is it's a Mexican spice, a bunch of different spices together. It's like a sweeter spice. It's so good. Oh, it's so bomb. Have you ever had like
you just like get it at your local stores, like supermarkets?
My local stores, I don't know what they do in Florida. Yeah.
I honestly have never heard of it.
I didn't either.
Maybe I'm just crazy. Okay.
I worked with a girl who was Puerto Rican at my old job, and she would bring in this white fruit called jicama.
Love jicama.
I had no idea what it was.
Oh.
I'm from central Pennsylvania, where we don't know many people who don't look like me. And my experience with Mexican food was Taco Bell. And then I moved to Utah, and there's actually a really high percentage of like Hispanic population here. And so then I'm like all in on like a nice burrito. But this girl I worked with, her name was Angel. She would bring in tahini with this spice, or excuse me, jicama with this spice. Oh man, so good.
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, could you put this on other stuff? Daniel, you can put it on everything. Darn it if I don't try. I'm all in on it too, let me tell you. So look it up, Google it. Take a few minutes.
For sure.
Dive in. You can definitely buy it on Amazon.
Okay.
I'm in.
I'm sure you can find it in your local grocery store. Someone here even says a lot of times you can find it by the produce, because you're throwing it on jicama and mangoes and
Yeah.
And mashed potatoes.
Yeah, why not?
And Mexican street corn. You ever had street corn?
Oh yeah.
Okay, the spices on the street corn.
It's like a red?
Yeah.
Oh, so maybe I have had it before. I just didn't know.
Girl.
Oh dang. You said it was sweet though. I thought it's not like spicy at all?
What would you say, Chris?
I mean, it's got spice.
But it's sweet.
Yes.
It's sweet and spicy. It's kind of, honestly, it's kind of like Chris.
Oh.
It's sweet and spicy.
I did live in Mexico for 2 years, so there's that.
See?
Perfect.
If the shoe fits, man.
Yeah.
That's actually a good segue, too. Jess.
Yes.
What's your favorite cheat meal?
Oh.
Ooh.
This is tough. I would say like just going ham on some tacos. Like with just like cheese, like shredded cheese and queso cheese and I don't know. Not having to worry about.
What's your preferred meat on a taco? Chicken, steak, pork?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
All the above.
Really stupid question. That's my bad.
There's a local place here called Blue Tequila, and it has just the most amazing food. It's like just the most authentic around me. And oh, it's so good. Chicken, steak, beef. Seriously, like one of each. I'm in. And chips and salsa. Oh, I live
Always.
for chips and salsa.
Yep.
So
I
good.
took my wife on a date the other day to Chili's just for the chips and
I
salsa.
love their chips and salsa.
Yeah.
Those are so, like those are
chips are
probably
so
top
good.
3.
What'd you say,
Top 3
Jess?
chips and salsa for me. That's Chili's is like top 3 chips and salsa for me.
Why? Why is
I'm
that?
just saying.
Why is that? Like, I don't
I
know.
don't
Why is it so good?
know. It's a great question. I mean, they don't make their own salsa, do they?
Handmade.
Probably not.
You know what's funny?
I would
I
say
used to
no.
work there. I can't tell you. I worked there for like 4 years. I can't even remember.
That's crazy.
Oh, I thought you meant like it was a secret.
Oh,
Chris,
no,
what
no,
haven't you
no.
done? Did you work at a Chili's in Mexico?
No. I've done a little bit of everything, yeah. No.
Chris has been all over the world.
I've
That's
actually
just
worked there. I love that he has stories for a lot
Chris
of
got
this
stories.
stuff.
Chris got yeah. We're going to be diving into that in a couple of weeks. Chris and I are going to be on here, just me and Chris. The rails will be falling off of immediately.
I love it.
Okay, I want to ask you a few
so
more
funny.
questions in reference to Rise 45. So,
Yep.
what was the biggest unexpected obstacle that you had during Rise 45?
The biggest unexpected obstacle, I really think would be hydration. I really struggled with that. I thought it was going to be sleep initially, because like I know that Adrian has touched on this before with one of our lives in the elite group with like social media and not putting your phone down and like going to bed and laying in bed, but like scrolling through crap for hours on end, and then one thing leads to another, and it's like midnight and you're like, shoot, I gotta get up in 4 hours, and then it's just like a vicious cycle of like, I'm tired and I don't want to work out as hard, or you don't push yourself as hard because you're exhausted and you're not, you don't have that recovery time. So I really thought like I was very forward thinking in planning, I will be in bed, I will not have my phone beside me. And I think even you said like you've put your phone across the room before, so that it's not even like a temptation of wanting to be on it, or even if it like vibrates, you want to see what's coming through. I was very conscious in like making that time of like sleeping and that part of recovery so I don't know, so intentional that it wasn't a struggle for me, and I was able to like fall asleep because I kind of just laid there like if I didn't feel tired, and I'm like, listen, you need this, your body needs this, you're not going to recover, or you're not going to perform as well, whether it's working out in the morning or even like throughout your day. It affects your mood even. You're not going to be a nice person, not people aren't going to want to be around you if you don't get your sleep. So I would say hydration was the hardest, just because it's something I've probably always struggled with, and I don't drink enough water. But being able to like mix my water with all of my like supplements that I'm taking now, like never even knew that reds were a thing until I bought them, and now I don't go a day without them, and that's just extra water intake that I'm mixing, my supplements with. That kind of helps me get through, because some days I'm like, oh, water, it's boring, don't like it, don't want it, don't want it cold, don't want it warm, you want to jazz it up a little bit. So taking the reds and then the greens and pre-workout and recover and reburst, and taking all of the products with water definitely helps. And I actually prefer taking protein with water as well. I know some people mix it with like milk, but getting that water intake, I kind of got creative with it. I kind of had to, honestly, because toward the end of the day, like I would, the first like week or two, I would just like chug the rest of my water because I'm like, man, I got to get this in. And I would do it, but I would go to bed feeling so full and bloated and like disgusting. And then, waking up in the middle of the night to use the restroom. So it was tough for me for sure. But, obviously I figured it out by the end of it. And it makes me more conscious, like of knowing when I can consume certain amounts of water and like kind of when I can't, especially with my schedule. So
Yeah, I think that was for me actually one of the ones that unexpected. I was like, cool, I'm just gonna drink a lot of water. And then all of a
hmm
sudden you're like, actually it's a lot of water.
hmm
I'm not thirsty. I'm
yeah.
busy. And like you said, like earlier, you were like, hey, like I got like kids. I can't just be like, hey guys,
hmm
gotta take a potty break. And then
Yeah.
just leave them to burn the school down.
Not that that would happen, but like you for real can't just like leave your kids unattended because God forbid the principal walk in and be like, guys, where's your teacher?
She's in a potty. She's drinking.
Yeah.
She's chugging water in the hallway. You're just
Yeah,
out,
for real. Like
you're just down by the bathroom, just in the water fountain, just doing work.
Hey, I do have another
man.
question.
Mhm.
I've got somebody that said that they are potentially moving to Tampa. They were wondering what the fitness atmosphere was like down in Florida.
I feel like anywhere you go, like Tampa definitely has a lot of fitness, like I would call them gurus, maybe. I know like quite a few people since I lived in St. Pete. Tampa was just right across the bridge, so I would frequent there occasionally. So I know quite a few people that either do training there. Crunch Fitness is like a super big gym down here. And then there are like little like fitness studios that people will do like training camps and like fit camps and stuff. But they're like the area where I live, it's not like super, it's an older community. So fitness isn't just like the first thing that you see outside your window when you're like waking up. But if you find like the gym that you want to go to or like like the gym community, like it's so easy to find those people. And then like I feel like you all just kind of like stick together because like I have without having my 5 a.m. crew, I have a 5 a.m. crew. Like we don't consider ourselves like the 5 a.m. crew by any means, but we know when someone's not there. And so we'll ask the next day, like, hey, where were you yesterday? We missed you, kind of holding each other accountable. But then again, like, there's also new people that come in every now and then, and you're like, I wonder why this person is up at 5 o'clock. I wonder if they're starting a new habit. Like, hey, come on over. Like, let's work out together. Like, what are you here for? What do you do? Like, but Tampa is definitely a big area for fitness, I would say for sure. It lends itself to a lot of outside fitness things. There's like they'll do like yoga on like this river walk place, like kind of by the bay. There's a lot of things that you can find for sure. So yeah, I would
Nice.
I would recommend Tampa for sure.
Awesome.
We went to Anna Maria Island. I talked about this to you before, Jess, but we went to Anna Maria Island a few years ago, and there's like 2 CrossFit gyms like right there. And it's just like a really cool, like healthy area. Like I really enjoyed it down there. We pride ourselves here in Utah of having like great a health centric culture. Now there's
hmm
some other concerns of mental health that maybe we're not so good at. But
Yeah.
when it comes to like physical activity and with the mountains, you throw a stone in any direction, you're gonna find a CrossFit gym or a standard Globo gym. But I love that. I love that. I think it's just, and hey man, if you're going down into Tampa, just go start your own thing.
Yeah. Find
Right?
something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all it takes is one. Awesome.
Yeah.
Any other questions from the crew? I got 2 more questions down here for Jess. So,
See if we got anything
gangs,
else.
if you have more questions, ask away.
Yeah.
Jess is an open book.
Open book.
I
Ask
got
me
nothing
anything.
for you right now.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, Jess, who's your childhood hero?
Oh, my childhood hero.
Yeah.
What a great question. I would say my dad.
Why?
I would totally say my dad because he I wouldn't say that we grew up with money by any means. We were, I would say, just a average middle class family. Um, but he never made me feel that way. It was inevitable every time we would like go to the grocery store, go to the gas station. Like I always wanted something, and like I feel like that's maybe not common, but maybe it is. I don't really know because I don't have kids of my own. But like every time we would stop somewhere, I would just need something, whether it's a lollipop or it's this like giant Barbie doll house or something. I was just like, oh, can I get something? And he, no matter what, always made it happen and like made it seem like it was like the thing. Um, or like when we would have spaghetti like 2 or 3 times a week because it was, cheaper, or even like butter noodles, like my mom would like jazz it up or something. My dad would like get so excited about it that like I was excited about it. Like he just made, looking back, knowing like we weren't by any means rich, we didn't have, um, you know, we weren't super wealthy, but I never would have known we didn't have it all.
Mm.
Like I never felt like, oh, I'm that kid without the cool new shoes, or, I'm the kid that doesn't have these really cool clothes, or I can't play these sports, or, I don't, we can't afford to drive to these places or go bowling or watch movies or something. Um, and he definitely got me into like sports. Like I remember he would always fall asleep. Like we would start watching baseball, and baseball can be a little boring at times because there's so many innings. But we'd get through like the first like one or two innings, and then like next thing you know, he's snoring on the couch. But like he would totally be up for that seventh inning stretch, and we'd like cheer on, like no matter how the game was going, we would cheer on our, the Cleveland Indians until the last inning. So I feel like he just maximized the little things for me that made me feel like they were like super special. Super dad.
That's beautiful. I think as a father
Yeah.
of girls too, I think that's something you love to hear that.
Yeah.
Making things special, making things valuable. How do you think that's made you a better teacher?
I feel like I pride myself on making small things into big things for the kids, like their successes and stuff. I'm not, I don't know if you would be able to tell or not, but I'm not like a negative teacher that's like, sit down now, you're not doing this right.
I'm
I
shocked.
always thrive on.
This whole time, do you remember what's the teacher's name from Matilda?
Oh, Trunchbull.
Mrs. Trenchbull. Do you remember that
Trenchbull.
movie?
Uh,
Do you ever see that, Jess?
Maybe.
So I
I'm not
was
good
thinking
with
this.
like remembering movies.
Okay. So she was just a really.
I'm sorry.
So I want you to a little homework.
Okay.
Go watch Matilda. It's an American
And
classic.
the Spice and Matilda.
Yep.
I know it starts with a T. I don't remember. I don't even
Tahine.
remember the name now.
Tahine.
Yes.
You're definitely
Okay, keep
not going to
going.
get Tahine. Matilda is available somewhere on the interwebs. Watch Matilda
Yes.
and Miss
Okay.
Trunchbull. Trenchbull.
Mhm.
Trunchbull.
Trunchbull.
Yes.
As you can tell by the way I say her name, she's a peach. That's what I was getting from you. It's just a really grouchy,
Oh.
mean-spirited teacher. You probably yell at your kids. You
All the time.
you just taking breaks, potty breaks in the middle of the day. Even those kids in
Chugging
there,
water, taking breaks.
give
and
them lighters,
yelling.
and you're just like, hey, meditate.
And then just go home with some Rebirths and tequila.
Reverse and tequila.
Sounds like a Tuesday.
Don't. And that's how we win Rise 45,
man.
ladies and gentlemen. Well, okay, let's
man.
talk about. Actually, I want to ask you another question, just in reference to Rise 45, and that is, how has your life changed since winning Rise 45?
I think it's just made me more like health conscious in all aspects. When I would think of like health, I would just think about like working out and eating well. And like that was kind of what I've, kind of seen my health journey or fitness journey as prior to Rise 45. And now like I've totally realized it is just more than eating good food and working out in the gym. Like it could be working out anywhere. It could be like social events with friends, could be fitness related. It doesn't have to be food related all the time kind of thing. Like I'll go on walks with my friends. We'll go on bike rides. We have like trails, around close to my house that we will ride our bikes on. Um, it has made me, I think, more of a well-rounded, health-focused person. And not that I was ever like shoving healthy choices down anyone's throat. Um, I feel like the way that I live my life, I've noticed like more people ask me, like, oh, what kind of pre-workout do you take, or how do you recover, or how are you in the gym 7 days a week, kind of thing. And so like it's able to, strangers are able to approach me and have conversations about, health, nutrition, sleeping, supplementation. Like it's definitely like a gateway, just because obviously it shows physically, that I've made a change within like the last year, um, and I'm continuing to change. That I think just being able to see that, um, health and fitness is more than just eating and working out. Like being mindful of choices, and doing some sort of meditation and sleeping is just super important.
No, that's it. Wellness,
Yeah,
right? Wellness.
yeah,
You're
yeah.
more than simply your bench press. You're more
Hmm.
than simply. 'Cause I mean, it's like, listen, it is better if you cry and eat broccoli than if you cry and eat ice cream. It is.
It may not taste as good, but it is better.
It
Yeah,
is better.
it's
But it
better.
doesn't
It
change the
feels it
fact
feels better in the long run.
that you're still crying. And
Yeah,
maybe we need to learn how to operate on that end,
yeah,
because it's still not like, it's like what's good and what's better. And sometimes it's like, don't let perfect be the enemy of good. I think
yeah.
I think we, especially with the last Rise 45 with Summer Shred, that was something I try to keep
Hmm.
reiterating to people, is like, just keep going forward, keep pushing. The
Hmm.
term Summer Shred, uh, for some people thought that meant like I've got to lose a ton of weight, and it was like, no, it's the name of
Hmm.
the program. This isn't like
Hmm.
a challenge where it's like you must be skinny, or it's like, dude,
Yeah.
if you think this guy is ever going to be skinny, you're missing the point. Uh, It's just not the aim.
Yeah,
I like cookies. Um,
yeah, yeah. And
Chris, do
there
you?
were, I will say that the second Rise 45 that I did,
Mhm.
um, not taking away anything from the first one, but it was the first one, so I was like 1,000,000% dedicated. Like, I worked my butt off for it. But the second one, there were maybe 2 or 3 days where either I just wasn't feeling it, I was, sick, or something came up. I actually took a really important test and failed it.
Mm.
And so like I had a lot of reflecting to do, and I'm like, either I could take this and like just destroy myself, because I used to go like resort to food and like eating crap, when I was like super upset about something like failing this like state test. And so I was like, so this has kind of taught me, either I can go back to my old ways, buy some Oreos and chocolate milk, and order a pizza on my way home and like sit in my pajamas and cry, or I can do what I teach my kids and don't give up, figure out how to fix it, and reward myself for doing my best with a bike ride. So I'm still going to be irritated that I failed, but would it be better to be irritated, crying in my own, bed of my own tears, eating Oreos and like feeling even more miserable, or crying on a bike ride and then, getting over it eventually?
That's so good.
So yeah, a bike
That's
ride
so
felt
good.
better.
Yeah, the bike ride.
Yeah.
That's gonna be the title of this episode.
The bike ride felt better.
Bike ride felt better. That's good. I like that. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
goodness.
Uh,
Yeah.
Chris, do you have? I have one more question for her. Do you have any questions you want to ask? I feel like there's a question that is going to be the Chris question that I want Chris to ask this question. I hope Chris knows what question I'm talking about, and I'm questioning if Chris knows which question.
There's a lot of questions and Chris's there. Yeah, so we know you are, rocking the fitness game. You did sports through high school and college. You're a teacher. So what else is there that you like to nerd out on?
To nerd out on. I feel like anything beach related, like sun, sand, water,
Yeah.
like count me in. Boats, I'm always down for a boat day. Love it.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Just
would say,
being
I mean,
in
I
the
feel like it's a
beach.
very, yeah, it's a very Florida answer, but yeah,
What's the best beach in Florida?
friends, Siesta Key.
That's the key.
I love it. Yeah, Clearwater is really nice too, but Siesta Key I feel like has been voted best beach for like the last like 6 years, and I
Are
would agree.
Are
Like
you
the
just
sand is just
asking
like powder.
questions for vacation ideas?
I wrote it down.
Is that
I wrote
what's
it down.
happening?
And you're more than welcome to come to where I live. I'll show you around.
Yes.
It'll be a freaking blast.
Me and Joan will be there. We're going next summer. We're gonna be going next summer, and I think
Let's do
I
it.
haven't gotten an approval from the boss man, but I'm planning on going down for like 2 or 3 weeks. And just like,
Ooh.
I'm trying to get a sunburn.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ready
Oh,
to
you'll
go.
get that.
Yeah, I don't tan
We'll get
either,
that.
so it's just.
Yep.
it's burnt.
Yes.
I'm not the tannest of people. It's usually red and then white, but I get a little color. So it's
color.
nice.
Just hold a little bit.
Yeah.
All right. Final question. This is we made it. We're at the 80-minute mark.
Ooh.
What a drag this has been, right? Are you disappointed, Jess? This has been a bore for you because
I've had so much fun. I really didn't know if I could like talk about myself or like, my life for an hour and a half.
I
But
love
here
that
we
that's
are.
always the response.
I didn't know I was this interesting. George last week was like, in his George voice, he's like, I really didn't think I'd have that much to say. And it's like, George, I think we have another 2 hours in us, buddy. I just got stuff to do.
Yeah.
Jess, we got another 2 hours in us, but we got stuff to do. So
Okay.
the last question I want to ask is, how do you want to be remembered?
I would love to be remembered for my positivity, or being positive, whether that is being the actual positive piece in whatever it may be, or finding the positive, because I know that can be difficult sometimes, and we're all human, so always being positive 100% of the time is a little challenging, but a lot of people that I meet compliment me on how positive I am. So I think that would be something important for me to be remembered for. And I would also like to be remembered for being reliable. I'm a pretty reliable person, I would say. I don't like to say no, so I feel like that could be like a downfall sometimes. But if someone calls me or needs me for something, I want them to think like, if someone's really in a bind for whatever reason, I want them to be able to pick up their phone and be like, I'm gonna call Jess. She's got me. That's me. Positive and reliable. Jessica Zachariah. That's me.
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of check the boxes there, right? That's good.
Yeah.
Well, it has been a pleasure to get to chat with you this much, Jess. You are definitely.
It's so great.
It's fun too because like you're one of the first few elite ambassadors that I brought on, right? And so this is like I really think I brought you on like my first week officially working here.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And it's been cool to see just kind of the growth that you've had here with FNX to get to know you better and now to get to share this with you and to get to share you with our community. It's for our community to get to see you not just as somebody who's like, hey, here's her before and after pictures with Rise 45, but this is the persona, right? This is this person who really does exemplify a lot of the things that we believe in and a lot of the things that we stand for as a company. Authenticity, wanting to be the right kind of person, being willing to never cut a corner, but at the same time, never take yourself too seriously.
Yeah.
You know, I'll say it every time, but we wouldn't be much of a company who didn't fashion ourselves after a phoenix if we didn't expect there to be some ashes.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that about you. I think you definitely exemplify those things. And so thanks so much for jumping in, Jess. I really do appreciate it.
Absolutely.
I will have a
Thank you
feeling
for
that
having me.
you're very welcome. This will not be the last time that we talk on camera to the millions and millions of people who are tuning in.
I'm glad you mentioned that after the fact.
Yep. And that's how we're going to close up. Chris,
Yeah.
I have one other thing that I wanted to say that I forgot to say.
Oh, no.
And it's not to you, Jess. Sorry.
That's
you don't
okay.
get this one. But you can participate in the excitement, and that is Adrian Conway, founder of the company, owner of the company, one of the co-guys, came in third at the CrossFit Games. He just finished. Masters division, 35 to 39,
amazing.
finished third. Really exciting. Yep. Wah, wah, wah. You don't even have to
So
throw in that
amazing.
sound. Yeah. So for you guys out there, my recommendation is shoot that man a DM and wish him congratulations. Adrian is not somebody who will go out of his way to celebrate himself. Adrian is a very reserved person. He definitely does a great job sharing on social media. But give him daps, give him love, tell him congratulations. This is somebody who represents us, and really the culture, the very thing that we stand for, the very nature that we are as a company is very much at the grassroots of who Adrian Conway is as a man, who he is as a competitor, who he is as a father, who he is as a disciple, who he is as a husband, and hey, who he is as a brother too. So very excited, third place, and
I thought it
Love
was
it.
great having you on. The fact that you were just open and vulnerable with everything about your life and your story. I think we've had two different and great podcasts so far, and guests. Yeah,
knocking it out of the park. Jess, you're amazing. Thank you so much. All you guys out there, be on the lookout. Got some anniversary stuff coming up. Exciting, exciting, exciting.
awesome.
See you guys.
Yay, bye.